Good morning on this Wednesday, February 3rd. Let it be known, the Core Magazine 100 honorees include changemakers like Stacey Abrams, attorney Ben Crump, NBA superstar LeBron James, and Oprah Winfrey. And it also includes this man, our president and CEO, Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey, and greetings from the Black Press of America, the National Newspaper Publishers Association. This is another day that the Lord has made, and we celebrate Black History Month 2021.
And we also celebrate something else. Black History Month represents the 50th anniversary of an event and saga that anyone even loosely connected to the civil rights movement will forever remember. It happened in Wilmington, North Carolina, a city that is known today for its vibrant riverfront with 3 colorful island beaches and southern hospitality leading to the port city's bustling tourism. But often reminders of the past allow a more detailed view into a soul of a city. In this case, Wilmington's reluctance to rid itself of its racist history, which reared its ugly head when on February 1st, 1971, a young minister named Benjamin Franklin Chavis Jr. arrived. Dr. Chavis had come at the request of a local preacher who wanted the Martin Luther King Jr. disciple to take charge of a boycott against reluctantly desegregated high schools that refused demands to honor King and to respect the Black students. Dr. Chavis, you can take it from there.
Well, thank you very much. 50 years ago, this week, it was in February of 1971, and now we're in February of 2021. That was a fateful week for Black history. When the United Church of Christ Commission for Racial Justice sent me to Wilmington, North Carolina, to respond to a plea for help from Gregory Congregational United Church of Christ. A Black church had a white pastor, and the students from New Hanover High School, Hoggett High School in Wilmington were boycotting the racism in the school. They were attempting to boycott. So keep in mind now, this is in 1971. I started in the civil rights movement in the early 1960s. And so by the time 1971 came, I was a veteran civil rights worker. So I was sent there to help the students organize. But it's one thing I want to talk about, the historical antecedents of Wilmington. We all just remembered and vivid in our minds what happened on January the 6th here in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital. There was an insurrection. There was a violent white supremacist attempt to take over the Congress of the United States. 5 people were killed, over 50 police officers were injured. People didn't think something like that could happen in America, but it has happened. And in fact, the coup d'etat that was attempted on the 6th of January, 2021 was unsuccessful. But the coup that was done in 1898, in November of 1898, in Wilmington, North Carolina, was the first successful coup d'etat in American history. Check out your history books. It happened in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's referred to as the Wilmington Massacre, the Wilmington Race Massacre. Who was massacred? Black people were massacred by white supremacists. They called themselves back in 1898, not only the Klan, they called themselves the Red Shirts. And they were white supremacist groups that took over the fusion government. Ironically, the fusion government were Republicans. There were Black Republicans and white Republicans that formed a joint government. And the whites disagreed to Blacks being in government, Blacks being on the city council, Blacks owning all the businesses downtown. Wilmington was a port city. So they overthrew it violently, almost what they did later to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's been this history of systemic racism. And so when we see, I'm putting this in context, Stacey, so we can see what just happened in Rochester, New York, with a 9-year-old sister, a 9-year-old girl, child, being maced by the police. People say, well, how can this happen? Why do these things continue to happen? We still haven't had the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd. They're still fresh. Black lives mattered back 400 years ago, 500 years ago. Black lives matter 50 years ago when I was sent to Wilmington. And Black lives matter today. That's why Black History Month 2021 is so important. I got to give a shout out to the Black Press of America. If it hadn't been for Mary Alice Thatch and the Wilmington Journal, and her father, T.C. Gervais, but we would not know about the Wilmington 10 case.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm so thankful that the NMPA played a leading role, and finally in 2012 getting a pardon of innocence for the Wilmington 10. I know, see,
Well,
in the whole day, Stacey, but
we will,
just
Dr.
for the viewers, we were sentenced to 282 years in prison unjustly, 10 of us.
Yeah.
And I was 24 years old at the time. The others were just 16, 17, 18-year-old high school students, and they were unjustly accused of rioting, but that we were the victims of the riot. We were the victims of the white supremacists attack. So instead of putting the white supremacists in jail, they put us in jail for almost all of the 1970s.
Well, Dr. Chavis, speaking of the Black press's involvement, I want to welcome right now our chair, the NMPA's chair, Karen Carter Richards from the Houston Forward Times. Good morning, Chair Karen Carter Richards.
Good morning, Stacey, and good morning, Dr. Chavis. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing fine, Madam Chair. And I just want to thank you. And as I was reminiscing on the role that the Black press played in helping the Wilmington 10 to finally get a pardon of innocence in 2012, a critical role that the NMPA played, the NAACP played, the United Church of Christ played, the National Alliance Against Racism and Political Oppression played, the Wilmington 10 Defense Committee played, but the Black press was there from the very beginning. And we're able to know about what happened in 1898 also because of the Black press. The first building, Karen, that they burned down in 1898 during that coup d'etat was the Black press, Mr. Manley's paper.
Right.
Yeah. And the Wilmington Journal today, all these years later, still located in the same block where Mr. Manley's paper was destroyed by the white supremacists.
Wow.
Well, and speaking of Dr. Chavis, joining us also from the NAACP Fort Lauderdale branch, President Marsha Ellison, and our West Side Gazette publisher, Bobby Henry. Bobby, good morning.
Oh, we got the whole family here this morning.
That's
Good morning.
right.
Good morning. Good. And I see Jackie Hamilton there also.
Yes.
From Mississippi Link. Good morning.
Yeah, we're full of surprises this morning. Dr. Chavis on the 50th anniversary of the Wilmington 10. Good morning, Celeste Hart. Good morning to our executive administrator, Claudette Perry, who makes this happen, and Enchanta Jackson, our great producer, who also makes this happen. So it's Dr. Chavis this morning. I want to start with our chair. Thanks for joining us. You got up early for us. We appreciate you. It's your time, Madam Chair.
Well, hey, I am so honored to be here this morning. Stacey, when you called me, when you text me and let me know what we were going to be doing this morning, usually I'm like, oh, okay. But I was like, yes. And I was just like, Dr. Chavis, man, we honor you this morning. When you think about why we're here in the 50th anniversary, it's kind of sad, but to know the man, to know you has definitely been a pleasure in my life. Your endurance, your kindness, your leadership. I mean, we just honor you today. And I'm glad that Stacey called me, and I'm glad that the Black press loves on you real hard. And just happy to be with y'all this morning.
Well, thank you so much. And believe me, we feel the love. And I think 2021, Madam Chair, is going to be, even though we amidst this devastating COVID-19 pandemic and the rise of white supremacy still in the aftermath of January the 6th, I'm optimistic, Madam Chair and Madam Secretary Jackie Hamilton. We think that the Black press has some real opportunities, and you can be hearing more about it tomorrow. And I can just say it on the air, break some news, that the Black press is going to have a briefing with some leaders in the White House tomorrow. So you'll be hearing more about that later from me today. But that's some breaking news, Stacey, here on our morning. But the thing is, the Black press has this is the 194th year of the Black press. And if you look at since Freedom's Journal in 1827, this is before the Civil War, the Black press was founded, and we have not missed a year in 194 years. And a lot of our papers are deeply entrenched, deeply respected and trusted in our communities. You there in Houston, Texas, Madam Chair, with the Forward Times, a great newspaper. Jackie Hamilton there in Jackson, Mississippi, another historic place of the civil rights movement with the Mississippi Link. the Wilmington Journal in Wilmington, North Carolina. I could just go on and on. Danny Bakewell was chair of the NMPA, the publisher of the Los Angeles Sentinel, when we first established the Wilmington 10 Committee. Just want to give a shout out to him and thank him, and hopefully he'll be with us tomorrow also when we have the White House briefing.
Yeah, and now I want to go to Jackie Hampton down in Mississippi. Jackie, it's on you, Jackie.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stacy. Good morning to everyone. And it is indeed a pleasure to be up early this morning. I was trying to see if the sun has come out yet.
All right.
But it's such a pleasure to be here and to honor Dr. Chavis up on this 50th anniversary of the Wilmington 10. As our chairman said, it's not a good occasion from the standpoint that those things, awful things, happened to him at such an early age, and then to others at even an earlier age. But Dr. Chavis continues to make history. He has overcome, I won't say you can't overcome what happened. You spend all that time in prison for something that someone accused you of, and then testifying that it is so when it is not so. But what's amazing to me about Dr. Chavis, he has not shown any bitterness. Wow. He keeps contributing to this country and the well-being of African Americans and people throughout this country with kindness. You never hear him say a negative or bitter word to anyone. He's always so very encouraging. And I am so proud that he is the leader of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, because he has added so much to the organization. And I just want to say congratulations, Dr. Chavis, for all that you have achieved and that you continue to achieve. Thank you so much for that breaking news you gave us this morning, and we look forward to hearing more on tomorrow.
Absolutely. And thank you, Jackie Hamilton. You know, I was recently down in Jackson, Mississippi with you, and had a film crew from the Chavis Chronicles, and got a chance to talk to you and learn something about the history of the Mississippi Link. We also talked to the Jackson Advocate, sister African-American owned newspaper there in Jackson. And I had the mayor, and then I also, Brother Chukwe Lumumba, and then I had the opportunity to have a detailed discussion with Derek Johnson, the current head of the NAACP. He's from Mississippi, but he's from Michigan, but he's resided many years in Mississippi. And so I just want to say that in this Black History Month, it's important for all of us to know and to reaffirm, we learn from our history, don't repeat our history. And Jackie and Madam Chair, Karen Carla Richards, what I've learned over the years is bitterness. And then Dr. King, I have to give him credit, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I started working with him when I was 14 years old as a teenager. And one of the things he told everybody in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, bitterness only distorts the beholder. And so, yes, we've been the subjects and the objects of all kind of racism, brutality, oppression, but we have to emerge out of it. We cannot allow the negative things that are done to us to make us negative, or the bad things that are done to us to make us bad, or the absence of love and hate that's awarded to us. We can't wind up being a hateful people. We are loving people. We struggle for freedom, justice, and equality, not just for ourselves, but for all of God's people. And that's the enduring, the transcending, the uplifting buoyancy that gives rise to our movement. So no matter, we have hard times right now with the virus, but our history shows we've had hard times before. And we've always had a sense of resilience, a sense of perseverance, and a sense of determination. And that is the history of the Black press of America. That is the history of Black America as we struggle for freedom, justice, and equality, and now equity.
Yeah, and we want to say good morning to Celeste Hart, David Youngblood. Of course, David Youngblood is a longtime loyal viewer, and Mark Campbell says good morning.
Good morning.
Our Executive Administrator Claudette Perry says, remembering the sadness in our Commission for Racial Justice office in the early 70s when Dr. Chavis was taken to prison. So happy that the Black press was on the case and helping Dr. Chavis finally get justice with a pardon of innocence. Better late than never. We also are waiting for President Campbell, President Ellison, Bobby Henry, apparently she's having some difficulties with her camera. So, but with that said, Bobby Henry, we're going to throw it down to you in Florida.
Okay, good morning. And again, it's a pleasure to be here.
Good morning.
Dr. Chavis, what more can be said about a living legend other than that he was willing to give up his life for what he felt was right? And when I first met you some years ago in Portland, Oregon, I stood next to you on the podium and I said to you, perhaps we should not form a relationship because I have baggage on me. And you said to me that that's nothing new to me. And I really appreciate that and respect that. So much so that we've engaged in conversations with
Yes.
brothers who are still incarcerated. And you have given them hope even behind the bars. And you continue to give us hope in your leadership. And I am forever indebted to some words that you shared with me in some difficult times, in moments of prayer. We've discussed some things, and I too, as Jackie stated, wondered, how is it that a man who has been through so much could be so humble?
Right.
And you told me it was out of love. And until
Yes.
we are able to understand and appreciate what it truly means to love, we will never find the peace that's within us to share with others. So for that, Dr. Benjamin Franklin Chavis Jr., I want to say thank you. God bless you. And Chili, your friend, and I share the same birthday. Bless
Is
you,
that
Dr.
right?
Chavis.
All right.
Well,
Well,
with
very
that
good.
said, too, Bobby, you know,
Thank
Dr.
you, Bobby.
is not only a civil rights legend, he's a hip hop icon as well. And
Belly.
so with that said, coming joining us now, the one and only Russell Simmons. Good morning, Russell.
All right.
Well,
Oh, this is a surprise all the way from Valley, man. Thank you, Russell. Good morning, my man.
you know, I know that we're celebrating a part of your life that I didn't take part in, or, I was even around, but you have so many lives and you've done so much for so many people. You know, I like to say to my children that I worked in the civil rights movement, that I worked for justice for Black people, and that I had some accomplishments that they could be proud of. I don't have one that I can't tell them you were beside me. But you have helped and stood next to so many other people and made them responsible. You taught me how to look after my brothers and sisters. You taught me a commitment, and it really life-changing beyond anything and more meaningful beyond anything that I've ever done is the work that I've done with you. So whether it was changing the drug laws or starting the Diamond Empowerment Fund or any of the work that we did over the years, all of it is amongst the most meaningful, if not the most meaningful work that I've done. So thank you, brother, for all that you've done for me and for humanity.
Well, thank you, Russell. You know, you're still the godfather of hip hop. And amazing thing about hip hop, 50, 60 years later, it has emerged as a global cultural phenomenon in China, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in Brazil, in South America, in Canada, and of course, throughout the United States, Mexico. Hip hop is the leading cultural phenomenon in the world. And so, Russell, I just want to thank you for the privilege to allow me to work with you in the hip hop community. And as you recall, back in the late 70s, early 80s, there were a lot of quote unquote player haters on hip hop. People trying to put down the culture, didn't understand the language, didn't understand the lyrics, didn't understand the poetry. But so I was privileged to bring my civil rights background to hip hop, not only to defend the cultural freedom of other artists, but you remember, Russell, the theme of the hip hop summit was taking back responsibility. I was so proud of these artists, man, from Diddy, Jay-Z, Foxy Brown. I mean, I can go down the whole list, MC Light, LL Cool J. I mean, the list is long, Russell, Run DMC. taking back responsibility. And that's how we were able to change those Rockefeller drug laws that were disproportionately impacting Black and Latinos in New York. We freed thousands of people from prison as a result of that. And then we got the millions of dollars added back to the school budget because they had taken music, Madam Chair, out of the school system in New York City, the largest school system in America. They were robbing our young people of the opportunity to learn music and culture. And we got it put back, but we had to bring, tens of thousands, over 100,000, almost 200,000 people down to City Hall to protest. So we had some great times. And then we did financial literacy, and you mentioned the Diamond Empowerment Fund. There are over 4,000 students in Africa that have gone to the major universities around the world because of the Diamond Empowerment Fund that still exists. Mandela, I remember that meeting, Russell, when you and I met with Nelson Mandela, and he told us to go back to the United States and start something that will help speak to the good that diamonds do, not only in Africa, but throughout the world. But look, I know this is about the Wilmington 10, and I just want to thank everybody.
I just want
there's a struggle, there's a theme out of the movement that I just want to say. It's called a luta continua. That's both in Spanish and Portuguese. That means the struggle continues. A luta continua. The Black press, the struggle continues. The Black church, the struggle continues. Black America, the struggle continues. African people, the struggle continues. All humanity, the struggle for freedom, justice, and equality and equity continues.
Well, let me say this, Russell, Jackie, Bobby, and our chair, Karen Carter Richards, putting this together. We're so grateful. My producer, Enchanta Jackson, and I are so grateful that you guys were available, because putting it together was difficult, because Dr. Chavis, as much as he's done, he doesn't like the spotlight on him. So we really appreciate it. Russell coming all the way from Indonesia. We certainly appreciate you. And Russell, we had in February, we had Rocky Buchanan, LL Cool J, and others on. And, every time we have somebody from the hip hop community on, they always shower Dr. They call him Dr. Ben. We call him Dr. Chavis. Y'all guys call him Dr. Ben. Y'all always shower him with so much love.
Well, again, he was the nucleus of all of the activism that we did and learned to do. He taught us early what it meant to be responsible for our community. And then he showed us how to do it, to negotiate with the governor and the assembly and the Senate for that drug law deal. I had never done that, and many things in many places were to get police departments. Even years ago, of course, we've been dealing with throughout our whole lives, police brutality, but the dialogue that we had even with the police, and him guiding us in the work that we did with Captain Dennis Muhammad. I mean, it's been like he always had his hand on my shoulder and directing me to be useful to the community. So it's not only me, of course, but that whole hip hop summit and the work that we did was, again, the most meaningful work I've ever done. And all the other stuff is a long distance second when I think about it. It was selfless work, and it was work that felt the best when it was done. It felt better than a hit record. It felt better than a TV show or a movie. It felt like it had a real impact in people's lives. And so that, for those feelings and those experiences, Ben, again, I just want to thank you. I didn't want to take away from the Wilmington 10 celebration, but I wanted to just shed some light on the fact that you have had so many chapters. We helped so many people, and that's just something I wanted to, bring into this conversation. So thank you for allowing me to do that, Stacey. And thank you, Dr. Ben, again.
Thank you. Thank you, Russell. God bless, and take care over there in Indonesia. You're doing great work, and I'm looking forward. I need to take a trip over there to spend some time. I need some meditation and some yoga, man, some yoga practice.
Ben, what I'm doing now is building a platform, a broadcast network, and all the rejuvenation resorts in the yoga school that I built, and the app, and all those things, and the books that have come out. They're for global experience. They're not. It's like you build a home base, but again, as you know, we have offices in 13 countries. We're just getting started, as I had to restart. And thank you again for being the only group of people who did any research on my scandal. No one did any research except Stacey. And it's shocking to me that you could write what you wrote, Stacey, and that no white media would even follow behind you. So I bring that up just because the Black press is so necessary, because they will not tell our stories.
Yes.
That's
Well, that's why we have Black History Month. And of course, for the Black press, Black History Month is every month. Black History Month is every day, every minute, every hour. That's why I'm so proud. I think I'm the luckiest brother in the world to be able to work with the National Newspaper Publishers Association. And I just want to say something about the Wilmington 10. You know, everybody knows about me, but there were 9 other people. You know, 8 brothers ranging from 17 to 19 years old, and 1 white woman who was in her late 20s. She was an anti-poverty worker, Ann Shepard. And I hope that Wayne Moore and James McCoy and Will Elverine and Reginald Epps are listening today. We're one of 5 members. 1/2 of the Wilmington 10 have passed away, you know, because suffering from the prison complex and all the trauma that was done to us. You know, I always tell uplifting stories. I'm writing a book now about the Wilmington 10. And I'm trying to find a publisher, Russell and Karen. But in fact, if I can't find a major publisher, the Black press, we may need to publish the book, because it is a story of the resilience of our people and our young people. I'm so proud of the young people today. The producer of this program is Enchanter Jackson. She's a young Generation Z. And we have another Generation Z, Carrington, working for us. I'm always trying to uplift young people, because we always have to pass the torch to make sure that we have more freedom fighters, more freedom fighting publishers, more freedom fighting journalists, more freedom fighting photographers, videographers, gathering the news and then putting the news and keeping our people informed, so we don't fall into the trappings of those that don't love us, those that hate us. But we must not respond to hate with hate. Love transcends all, and love will transform all if we give love a chance.
Yeah, and our chair, Karen Carter Richards, you know, Dr. Chavis mentioned Enchanter Jackson prior to the program and putting this together. She did some more research on Dr. Chavis, and she says, wow, Dr. Chavis, I didn't know he did all of that. And she was also struck by his humbleness as well. Chair Karen Carter Richards, you can speak a lot to that.
Yes, I tell you, I don't know. Well, I guess after I even started reading some material last night, and I was like, wow, I've seen him in action. I've seen Dr. Chavis is so kind, and you wonder sometimes when you see things or people trying to come against him, you know, after I read what some of the information I read last night, I say, they think they can break him? because they definitely can't. I mean, he's had everything thrown at him to try to break his spirit. And from, like you just said, from all of that, he still remains so very kind, loving, and it's just remarkable. I want to say one thing that I was sitting here thinking about. Dr. Chavis and I went to Los Angeles to Danny Bakewell's Taste of Soul, the Los Angeles Center Taste of Soul. And with the Uber let us out like a few blocks over because they wouldn't let you get that close. And the closer we got, it was almost like, I mean, the nation was there. They were just clearing the way for him. And everywhere we were, it was just like it just opened up. And I looked at him, I said, well, you like Moses?
Well, we were.
I'm saying all that to say the love and respect that he gets from everywhere we go. It's just, it's amazing. And I count it all joy that he's my friend and I learn from him every day. And so I just wanted to add that.
Yeah,
I would thank you.
Yeah, we were in Brooklyn, Dr. Chavis and I, and I'll never forget, these young guys came running up to him. You know, you figure it's all about, you know, the civil rights. You were in Belly. You were in Belly. So, you know, I'm gonna, you know, we are over time. So I'm gonna give Bobby Henry his last hurrah. And then we'll go to Jackie, and then we'll go to Russell, and we'll wrap it up with some final words. So go ahead.
Okay, I was thinking as everybody was talking, and biblically speaking, Dr. Chavis you are like that tree planted by the river.
Yeah.
Your leaves will always be green. Your roots extend so far out that they have touched so many people. So you will live forever in the lives of all those you have touched and the ones who come after that. So God bless you, brother.
Thank you. God bless you.
And Jackie Hampton of the Mississippi Link.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I can just say ditto to everything that everyone else is saying about Dr. Chavis. The Wilmington 10 is something I know that's in his heart. You can't remove it, but what it has made him stronger throughout his entire life, throughout his entire career. After that incident, apparently it has made him stronger. I say that because, like Karen said, you cannot break him, but at the same time, you can't remake him either. He's a great role model.
Yes.
I would put him before and amongst any group to show how to live your life and how to treat other people. He looks for a peaceful way of solving issues. And that's what I have seen in our NNPA. So I just want to say God bless you and God bless the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I am so happy to be here with my fellow publishers this morning. And I thank you, Stacy, for all the work you are doing. You have a strong voice and people are looking and they are listening.
Well, thank
Very
you,
good.
Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
It is also obviously a privilege to have Russell Simmons join us. Russell, your parting words to Dr. Ben.
Well, I probably will call him in an hour, so parting words is strong. Then again, Ben made me conscious of the suffering of our people in ways that I had not been. When I was only focused on culture, he taught me that culture had a strong role in the liberation of our people. And he taught me, and we had experiences where we saw that sometimes some of the artists, the ones that were spit on and treated poorly by the mainstream and even by our own community, were the ones who could actually move mountains for us. And so he gave me dignity and the artists dignity when they could go out and use their power to change the world. And the experiences where we won some change, or we got some laws changed, or we got some relief, or raised some money, or raised awareness, or those experiences where we won, they changed us forever. I remember seeing Puffy on the cover of the Washington Post speaking at, I think it was the rally for when we had the walkout, where all the New York City students walked out, and the teachers union joined us and others. And when we got that budget put back in, it was a huge deal for us because it showed us that we could do it. And then we went on, of course, and did so many more things. So Ben taught us how to be men and be responsible. And he's always been my mentor. And I'm just very blessed to have shared space with him. And for him to have taught me, I talk about the yogic science, which is the science of Christ consciousness. He taught me the links between the Muslim, the Jewish, the Christian, the Buddhist, and the yogic communities. And he taught me the sameness that we found existed when we looked in their scriptures. So all of the things that he taught me are lasting my lifetime. If I check out today, and in the book that I just finished, we wrote so much in the chapter on him. It's unbelievable. And Ben, if you ever, when you read what we have in my life story about you, it'll just be a capsule of all the great things you've done. The stuff you did with me deserves a book on its own. So thank you,
Russell. Thank you. God bless. And the oneness of humanity and the oneness of God. It's universal. It's universal.
We remember on Black History Month, Buck O'Neill, who lived a devoted life to baseball and the enduring memory of the Negro Leagues. O'Neill, a slick-footed first baseman, had a .283 career batting average in his 11 years in the Negro Leagues, including 10 with his beloved Kansas City Monarchs. Additionally, he was a two-time Negro American League batting champion, hitting .345 in 1940 and .350 in 1946. He also managed the Monarchs from 1948 to 1955, leading them to 4 Negro American League titles. We remember on Black History Month, Buck O'Neil. Let it be known, join us tomorrow, same time. The time is always right to do what is right. Everybody stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and social distance. See you tomorrow.